Alrighty, guys, welcome to tonight's charting session. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. It is Tuesday, October 3rd. We're going to go over today's trades that we ended up taking. I took 3 trades today, 2 winners, 1 loss. We'll talk about all the trades that we took, my biases going into the day, my biases for the trade, the reasons for the trades, what we did right, what we did wrong. And we'll end it off answering some questions and then talking about what we're going to be looking at going into tomorrow as well. So, first thing, my bias going into the day. Now, I was bearish going into the morning, but the reason why I was not looking to take any sort of trade here was because of the daily candle of the previous day. Going into the day, I said I was not looking to take any sort of trade inside of this range because the previous day's candle never ended up breaking the high or low. We had an inside closing candle. When we have an inside closing candle, a lot of the times we are just going to accumulate, right? And before today's move, we were just slowly accumulating in this area. There was no clear draw on liquidity. All it was internal being taken, bouncing off a PD array all over the place. There was no clear understanding of what price wants to do. So I was waiting for us to pick a side. Now, going into the morning, the one possibility that you could have looked to trade was we did have a breaker going into the downside. We got a nice displacement of the downside. I said the best trades I was looking for are going to be either we take this high or we take these lows into this 4-hour, and that's what I was waiting for. So going into the morning, we did have a move up in the AM as a Judas swing. We ended up coming back into this big breaker block that we had on the 1-hour time frame. We had a nice breaker here. Came back into this, rejected to the downside. I know some of you guys ended up shorting this and scalped this move to the downside, but I wasn't really looking to take this. Again, I was following my rules and my pre-market plan, which was not really looking to take anything unless we take this sell side level, right? And again, I'm not going to break my rules. I'm going to follow the plan. Even if the trade looks good, I'm going to follow my pre-market plan going into the day, right? Again, focusing on building good habits. And I wouldn't have looked to even take a trade here anyways. So going into the later in the day, again, I'm looking to now see us get displacement to the upside. So I'm not automatically looking for longs on a bigger time frame yet, but I can trade the internal range. So at this point in time, when we end up coming down to this, let's kind of replay this. For me to have some sort of bias saying that this becomes buy side, I need to see displacement to the upside. What I also need to see is some sort of imbalance getting ran through. If I look at the 5-minute, right, we have a slow imbalance starting to form here. If I can get this get ran through, then I can expect us to at least go to discount of whatever this range is, right? But I need to see displacement on a bigger time frame to the upside, right? I need to see a big move. Notice we never get that. What we do get, though, is I actually end up dropping down to the 15-second, and this is where I took my first trade today, which was an internal model. It was literally a 15-second trade, and it was a basic 2022 model. This is literally just the epitome of a 2022 model. We end up coming down. We get these equal lows on NQ swept to the downside. I'm waiting. I was watching price. When I got this big move back up, again, this gives me a bias. Again, price is fractal, right? This is an exact model that I would look to trade. If this was on a 15-minute time frame, I would be looking for price to retrace into this fair value gap and then zooming into a 1-minute to then take this entry long, right? Now, I had confidence with this. It's a very nice scalp. So this was the first trade that I ended up taking. Waited for a retracement back into this imbalance. I longed here and got a nice move up to buy side, and then I ended up taking it off there, and then the rest of my contracts ended up getting stopped at break even here. So this was the first trade I took, the first winner. Ended up playing out. I traded my full size here. I took off around 60-70% of my position here, and then the rest got stopped out at break even. So after that, again, not really looking to touch anything. We continue to consolidate. And at this point in time, I was looking to see a power of 3 to the upside. So I ended up taking my next trade, which was a long right here on this order block. And the reason I took a long here is I entered half my size here. Instead of my full position, I entered half my size. And the reason I entered entered long here is because I wanted to see a power of 3. I liked the accumulation that we were forming here. And I wanted this to be a manipulation move to the downside for then to get distribution to the upside. Now, this was an internal, again, this is an internal time frame model. So my main target here would be this because, again, this is buy side. I got a question earlier today, which I want to talk about today because I think a lot of people will benefit from it. But I had a question that somebody said, I always see you like take off your limit orders. Like when I'm looking to take a trade, there will be a point in time when I take it off, right? Where I say the trade's no longer valid. And the reason I say that is because whenever I take off a limit order or I'm looking to take a trade, I take it off because the model or whatever my objective would have been has already been met, right? So if I'm taking a long in this specific model, right, and I'm zoomed in this model, my main target here, right, for this, what the market is telling me here is going to be this high. And then I'm looking to see, okay, let my runners go right through. But on a bigger time frame, that's a completely different model, right? Completely different model. If I was to zoom out to a 5-minute, there's nothing here yet, right? I would need to see this first, then a fair value gap, then maybe internal, then look to long, right? But I would need to see all of that structure first before targeting up here. But since I'm trading that internal model on a 15-second chart, I'm okay taking a stab long here. So I took a stab long and ended up getting stopped out on this, and we ended up continuing to the downside. Again, an okay loss, not the greatest setup. Am I fine with the setup? Am I fine with the loss? Yeah, I traded half size. I looked okay. It was all right? So that was the last trade I ended up taking on NQ. The rest of the day, we ended up just slowly tapering off to the downside. I don't really see any other possible opportunity that there could have been, really, to be honest. Ended up just kind of slowly consolidating the rest of the day. Maybe, yeah, not really anything. We ended up just consolidating and just kind of slowly working our way down. This should become low resistance. It become, oh, maybe there's a short. What time is this at? Could have been maybe a short setup here. This isn't bad. Possible short setup. You get internal swept, displacement to the downside, reject on a fair value gap. Oh, that one got ran through. Bigger time frame at balance. Yeah, rest of the day, probably wouldn't have looked to trade any of this action. All right, and then the next trade that I took, the one that really made me the most money today, was this CL long. The long on CL, let's talk about the confluence for this. Looking at a bigger time frame, again, overlapping my bigger time frame bias with my intraday bias. My bigger time frame bias is sell side has now been swept. I'm now looking to see displacement back to the upside to target whatever a bigger time frame imbalance is. And at this point in time, I was just watching to see what price action was doing. At this point, 15-minute, having bullish order flow, right? Starting to have bullish order flow, starting to make higher highs, lower lows, or higher lows, sorry. So I zoom into the 5-minute, and I notice we have these relative equal highs here that I want to see get targeted. I see that we're slowly starting to retrace back into this big imbalance that we have. We have a nice move up to the upside. Notice the structure here. Big move up, slow consolidation to the downside, right? So what am I waiting for? I zoom into the 1-minute. I'm waiting for displacement back up and a sweep of internal. We sweep internal sell side. Your initial entry could have been here, but I didn't check CL at the time. But once I saw us continue up, I knew we were going to continue. So we came up, waited for a pullback, entered in long, literally pretty much zero drawdown on this trade. And we ended up just getting straight up bought. And I took off most of my contracts at this high here. Or pretty much I took off all my contracts at this 8976 level, which is those equal highs here. So I do think CL, I'm still bullish on CL going into tomorrow and the rest of the week. So we'll see how that ends up playing out as well. We might get some more setups on CL to the upside. So we'll see how that ends up playing out as well. But any questions on those trades so far? Helps so much. I appreciate everything you've done for us. Much love, Crispy. Could you talk about the type of context in regards to structure that you need to see determine what time frame you need to see break a structure or after you've seen a liquidity sweep. Okay, good question. So I need to see displacement inside of a range on a bigger time frame. If I'm looking at NQ here, right? If I'm looking at NQ and I retraced and I'm going back here and I'm looking at this chart, what time frame am I on right here? What is this imbalance? It's a 4-hour imbalance, first of all, right? If I go to a 15-minute, 1 hour lows here, right? For me to get validation that this now becomes buy side, I need to see a lot of internal structure here on a 5-minute. If I'm so focused on the 1 minute here and I'm too dialed in, like on a 15-second, this is not going to a 15-second break of structure to the upside is not going to validate that we're going back here, right? Because I'm trading an internal model, right? Just like for example, the trade that I took here. Think of this as a 15-second or a 15-minute. Again, price is fractal here. Price is fractal. This is a 15-second, but imagine this was a 15-minute. What would be my bias here? What would I be looking for in price? We have equal highs. I'm looking to see this come down here, zoom into a 1 minute, look for internal structure to be swept, and then look to long and catch this move here, right? But this is an internal model here, right? Meaning sell side's been swept. We've now gone all this accumulation here, and we've now gotten displacement to the upside through all of these highs, right? Fair value gap equals displacement, right? Listen to that one again. A fair value gap is equivalent to displacement because a fair value gap is created from a displacement move, right? When we displace and get a big move, an imbalance is created, right? So I need to see a big move and a fair value gap created for me to validate or even question possibly taking some sort of long, right? So when I zoom out here and I'm looking at a 15-minute or a 1 hour, now imagine I was just looking at that 15-second chart, right? Imagine that 15-second chart I was just looking at right now, where it's now sell side swept. I have to see all that accumulation first before having any sort of validation or a strong bias that we go back here, right? If I go down to a 1 minute, I'm so zoomed in, right? It's a completely different model I'm trading if I'm trading on a 1 minute, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, this looks good. I like that trade, Brady. I like that. Can you tell what you mean when you say you're going to trade internal range? I'm going to trade inside whatever range I'm looking at. Guys, internal and external, it all just depends on whatever time frame I'm looking at. So when I say internal, when I say external, just ask me what time frame, because it all just depends on what I'm looking at. If I'm looking at a 4-hour time frame right now, right? If I'm looking at just this chart right here, what's my internal and external liquidity? This is my external buy side. This is my external sell side, right? This is my internal sell side. But if I go down to a 15-minute, right, this becomes my external sell side. This becomes my external buy side. This becomes my internal sell side, right? It all just depends on what I'm looking at the time. So don't get confused when I say, don't get mixed up. Don't try to focus too much on internal versus external. It all has to do with just time frame. Yeah, 15-second chart, when I say internal, that's because it's internal through the daily range of what we're trading, right? The daily, like intraday time, this is an internal model, right? Because this is a super tight model inside all of the range that we've created today, right? We're not actually playing this range, right? If we were playing the range, it would be this, which would be boom, 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 buy side swept, displacement. That would be playing the range, right? But this is an internal model inside of that range because it's just a super small little smidgen here. But again, it's all price is fractal. It's going to do the exact same thing on every single time frame. So you're playing that 15-second range, not really looking at that hourly. Absolutely. The hourly bias and my daily bias and my 1 hour and my 5-minute bias have no correlation or concern with this trade here. Are you going to show your 15-second and 30-second trading model that you've been working on? No, not yet. Can you go to crude oil 1 minute chart on your entry? It didn't go in a discount, so where was your limit? It was in this imbalance. Right here. We had these two fair value gaps. And then I zoom out until it becomes a one fair value gap, and then that's where I take my entry. Yeah. Guys, whenever there's two fair value gaps or three fair value gaps or an imbalance, like, guys, if I'm like, oh my God, where should I take a trade here? There's like 4 fair value gaps here. Zoom out until there's only 1 or 2, right? Oh, wow. Here. Wow. Okay, here we go. I got 1 fair value gap here, 1 fair value gap here, 1 fair value gap here. Okay. Now I can kind of figure out which one. It's not going to be this one because this one's not on discount. So it's probably going to be one of these two. All right. Now I zoom out even more. 3 minute. Is there a 1 fair value gap here? Hey, this one's the one I should probably be trading, right? Because this one's in discount. Hey, maybe even more. Let's go to a 4 minute. Wow, there's only 1 fair value gap there. Okay, maybe go to a 5 minute. Hey, this is probably where I should be looking to take a trade, right? And then zoom back in, and then see whatever 1 minute imbalance is in that range. I have a 5 minute fair value gap here. There's only 1 fair value gap in this range. So what's the most likely area we're going to bounce? This imbalance right here. Boom. Justin, I live in Norway and the time zones are fucked, and I stay up too late at night to catch the charting sessions because you don't always upload the recordings. Can you please upload all sessions from now? I upload every single session, brother. Every single one. You can always watch them. All right, so let's talk about going into tomorrow. So going into tomorrow, looking at NQ here. What do you guys think? What do you guys think my bias is going into tomorrow on NQ? What do you think I want to see? Yep. Exactly. I want to see this 4-hour become inverse. So what's the best model that I can trade for me to take a short setup, right? I'm bearish going into tomorrow. This 4-hour imbalance got ran through to the downside. We've came up. We've now swept this internal buy side level. We've rejected this daily fair value gap that we had. We're getting displacement to the downside. I'm expecting us to now, this becomes the draw on liquidity, all right? Or this previous low now becomes the draw on liquidity. So going into tomorrow, I'm looking to see this retrace back into this 4-hour imbalance, but I need some sort of sweep of liquidity. So I go down to a smaller time frame. This is what I'm looking for. This now becomes my internal buy side level that I'm looking to get swept in the 4-hour inverse fair value gap to then go back to the downside. So this is where I'm looking to see price come back to. I'm looking to see think. Is what I'm looking to see. When there's a BPR, do you always look for that over the fair value gap? Yes. Well, I mean, it'll be overlapped with whatever fair value gap is there would already be a BPR. So a BPR is just adding more conviction, right? I'm not just looking for BPRs if there's no model, right? A BPR is just like it should be a nice little coincidence. Be like, oh, hey, this overlaps with my model. This would be an internal model. Again, guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's internal or external. A model's a model. Because, again, internal and external is all relative. Now, I would say this is internal just because I'm looking at this time frame right here, right? The 4-hour. I'm looking at a 4-hour inverse fair value gap with a external, right, sell side level. So anything in this range is internal, right? Anything in this range. But again, it doesn't matter. Don't get too flustered on internal versus external. I'm finding I'm still hesitating to enter trades even when PA is playing out to to a T as well. Once the trade starts going in my favor, I'm too quick to move my stop loss, not sure how to combat this. So there's two things, right? There's two possible reasons for this. Number one, you don't have enough conviction, right? You haven't built up enough conviction with your trades. You're second guessing your model. You think that you should enter, but you really truly don't have enough confidence and experience trading it to actually enter it, right? That's number one. That's absolutely a thing. Number two, you're risking too much capital, right? You're afraid to put on because you're afraid to lose because you don't have confidence. So the recommendation I have for you is focus on building conviction, not making money. Lower your size. Whenever you see a setup that you like, don't hesitate. Enter it. But enter it with micros where you don't care if you lose. You do not care at all. I just want you to get the feeling of entering a trade, having some sort of reason or conviction with it, entering it without any sort of hesitation because you don't care if you lose, and seeing the trade play out. When you see that happen, you will start to build confidence. And then you can slowly start to up your size. Do you always wait for breaker structure 2 before taking a trade? Yes. Sometimes I have a hard time finding trades while I see you finding trades. Again, it takes time and experience. Keep looking. Look at what trades I'm taking. And again, constantly keep looking for models. Go throughout the day and look about internal models. Again, just focus on, look at Cameron's model as well, right? Look, again, it's not hard. 15-minute sweep of a high, break a structure to the downside, fair value gap. Boom, done. Targeting external draw. Tips on how not to overtrade after losing. Ooh, good question. Let me think about this. So, number one, like me and Dave were talking about earlier today, the best traders ever, the best traders that you will ever see are the best losers. When you see me or Dave take a loss, do you see it affect us whatsoever? No, not at all. Because all it is, again, like Dave said, it's just another day in the office. That's all it is. Because in the long run, when you're constantly focused on building confidence and building conviction, and you know the setup you trade, and you have the discipline to only take those setups, you're always going to be profitable, right? If you break those rules, you're not going to be. So when I take a loss, it instantly is wiped from my memory. And what I want you guys to focus on is when you guys take a loss, don't bring it into the next trade. And a lot of you guys do without realizing it. Psychologically, when you guys take a loss, you end up looking for opportunity that's not there because you're looking at your P&L and you just don't. Again, nobody likes to lose, right? Nobody likes to lose, but you got to realize that losing is a part of the game. You have to be a good loser. Most of you guys psychologically end up taking a loss in the morning, are constantly glancing over at your P&L being like, fuck, I'm down, $400, $500, whatever it is. And just by that little fucking thing of you looking over and seeing you're negative, you don't want to be negative. Nobody wants to be negative. And you let that get to you. You end up looking for opportunity that's not there instead of being patient, having that loss absolutely wiped from your memory, and going into the charts like it's the first time you're looking at the market today. That should be how you should trade. After every single trade that I take, I'm going into the market like it's the first time I'm looking at it for the day. There's nothing that's happened previously, win or lose. And then at night is when we can go into the charting sessions and actually review those trades, right? But during the day, I don't want you to. I want you to take a win. I want you to take a loss. I want it to be wiped from your memory. And then at night when we go over the charting sessions is when I want you to journal and go back and realize what you did right and wrong. All right, let's check news going into tomorrow. Have PMI at 10. Probably wait for that. Other than that, we should be chilling. Any last questions, guys? This one took an aha moment for me. I know the feeling when you take a loss and you are mad and you want to get that money back. If you give yourself a full week of saying, no matter what, once I lose X amount, I'm done for the day. Do that for a week. Do that for a week and force yourself to do it. I promise it becomes easier. You realize you actually become more profitable because you are protecting your capital. Absolutely. Absolutely. When a fair value gap is closed above or below, do you consider that invalidated, or does it depend on the context? Yeah, I think it's invalidated. Those aren't bad, Fernando. That first trade, again, that first trade is fine. I'm fine with you getting stopped on that trade as well. Second one's decent too. Yeah, tomorrow we'll be waiting for 10, just like today, for Jolts. Again, notice what Jolts did today. Jolts basically started this whole entire move today. Jolts opened right here. 10 a.m., we were pumping. Jolts opened, and then we ended up dumping the rest of the day. So what I'll be waiting for tomorrow as well. For your strat, is SMT required? And for SMT, do you want to take? No, I do not need an SMT. It just adds more confidence. For SMT, I like taking whichever one has better price action, to be honest. Again, because the SMT is bullish or bearish for both indices. So in my opinion, I take whatever's stronger just based off of price action and reading price action. Hold on, let me let my dog out of my room. He's going crazy. All right. Is your 15-second model just 2022 model? It can be. Yeah, it can be, but other times it doesn't need it doesn't have to be. If that makes sense. We'll talk more about it later. When I'm actually confident with it. I'm not going to share some shit that's half-assed with you guys. I want myself to be very, very confident in it, so. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The model that I already traded was pretty much Cameron's model. Like the model that I used to trade, like that we trade on lives together, like even before Cameron started trading, was pretty much Cameron's model. I have just again, in my opinion, the way that I trade is based off of all ICT concepts and models just combined. It's just a way of reading price action. That's all it is. It's just a way of reading price action, and once I've seen so many things happen over and over again, it's just understanding how price action works using ICT concepts. So the trades that I take are a lot of different models, but all based off of same concepts. Thank you for being so transparent and genuine, brother, and all of us traders never change, please. Much love, brother. Of course. How do I trade without overtrading? Discipline yourself. If you're not disciplined outside of the markets, you're not going to be disciplined inside the markets. If you go into the morning and you have that itch, to put on a trade, step away. You have to discipline yourself. You got to learn. And this takes time. A lot of the times, it won't happen quickly. It'll take a long time. Like for me and a lot of you guys, and I think a lot of traders in general, sometimes you just got to get slapped in the face 1,000 times, right? That's why I always say your first 2 years of trading, you should not be focused on making money, right? You should not be focused on making money your first year or 2 years into trading. You should be focused on building good habits. You should be focused on building conviction and confidence with whatever model you're trading, and then slowly start to add size and then start to trade with real money and real capital. I agree with James on that as well. Good trade, Justin? Yes, absolutely. This looks great. Yeah, it looks good, brother. PA is brilliant recently. I told you. Guys, did I not say at the beginning of September, everybody was everybody was freaking out because I said that mid to late September you'll start to see a change in price action, and at the start of September people were like, Justin, you said September is gonna be better than the summer months, and then mid September and late September hit, and you're like, guys, this price action is great. I've never been so profitable. Yep, that's why I lowered size over the summer, and that's why will up my size later. I mean, well, next year is execution year. Next year is money making year, but for the rest of this year, I'll still probably up my size for the rest of the year. But how do you know to wait for internal model? I waited for an internal model after 5-minute fair value gap of 12 p.m., but it just took off. How do you know to wait for an internal model? I waited for an internal model after a 5-minute fair value gap at 12 p.m., but it just took off. Give me a screenshot, because again, I don't know what you mean by internal model unless I see what the actual time frame you're looking at is, or like the specific setup. No, next year's execution year just for for my trading career. I always say this, but this entire year for me is focused on not making money. It's just focusing on mastering my edge and building conviction. I took a whole year in my trading career to discipline myself to not care about making money and just primarily focus on becoming a monster and sharing that with you guys. I want to focus on one model, kind of like Cam to build this, but I trade like you, Justin, using ICT concepts and trading on price action. Bro, trust me, continue to do what you're doing now, continue to trade based off price action, but backtest Cameron's model. I really, really like Cameron's model because Cameron's model is pretty much how I already trade. It's just for people that need a list. And it's a lot easier. Cameron's model is basically just a 15-minute sweep of a high, break a structure to the downside, and a 30-second fair value gap with a 12-point stop and a 10-point PT. Now, you're like, oh my god, negative R. Yes, it is negative R. 12-point stop loss, 10-point PT. That is his model. But he has a 100% win rate with that model. Had my first 2K day. Let's go. Never met someone that explains things as clearly as you. Thank you, brother. Much love, Justin. I want a model with a list. Yeah, it depends who you are as a person. That's why I'm always saying, don't just try to do what I try to do, right? Because everybody is going to trade differently. The thing that I love about ICT concepts is you can trade it so differently. ICT traders can trade so differently, but they're trading the same concepts, right? Build something that works for you, right? If you need a list, right? If you need a strat list where it's like 15-minute high, wait for break, 30-second, right? Set my stop, whatever that is, right? And then continue to back test it, then do it. Awesome. That's great. Or you're like me where the more, again, it'll get to a point where even if you are trading with a list, the more that you trade that list, you won't even think about it, right? You're not going to think about it. You'll just see it and you'll know. And I'm hoping everybody gets to that point where it's just market experience and you just can read price action. For specific trades, yes. Is your price trade simple, like you could easily make a new list? For specific trades, yes. Others, no. Others, no. Because others would be like, because there's trades that I would take where some people in the Discord are like, Justin, why the fuck would you take that? Like that's not. But I take those trades just because I'm able to read price action and because I have conviction for it. But I could never write it in a list because it's unique to that specific example, if that makes sense. Justin, just thought of a good question, but it might be a long response. Oops. Earlier, you were kind of against what Tyler said about trading. You care to tell us when and how trading has changed your life, the things it's opened you up for too and stuff, kind of to motivate us, Absolutely. Let's talk about this. We'll do a little bit of a story time. I started trading around the end of my freshman year of high school. Okay. I did not have a lot of friends at all in high school. I had like a small group of friends, and I was a total fucking gamer. Like I was, again, at this point in time, I was trying to go pro with Fortnite. I was playing Counter-Strike, and all of that stuff. I first started trading in high school, and I soon realized that it is not as easy as I thought it would be. I started my first account, $3,000. Again, I didn't even paper trade. I was trading options at the time, and I immediately jumped in, and I had beginner's luck. I turned 3K to 15K, and I lost it all. How old? I was 16 or 17. 16 or 17. And I soon realized that I didn't know what I was doing. So my biggest piece of advice, now that I'm thinking about this, don't get egoed. When you win, it is when you first start trading and like you're in your like starting months, like your first year, it is so easy. It is so easy for you to have a couple wins and you go to your friends and you go to your family and you're like, yo, check this out. Like look at me. I just made look at this option contract, bro. Like all of this stuff, you end up showing it off. You end up going to all these different people just for you to end up losing all of it. And then your friends and family come to you and you're like, hey, how's trading going? And you're fucking dying on the inside knowing you just blew up your entire account, right? That was me. I went to my family. In fact, one of my biggest TikTok videos that blew up was literally talking about how I do not think that you should tell anybody in your life that you are trading until you start making consistent money. I don't think anybody, when you first start trading, should tell your friends or your family that you are trading, because it will bring nothing but negative into your life. It will bring nothing but negative. So there's no reason to do it. So continuing with the story, I soon realized that I was so egoed. After like my first year of trading, I realized that I knew nothing. I was building such bad habits. And honestly, this took me probably 2 years to realize. I was trading nonsense and terrible habits for 2 years. And what I really want you guys to focus on is I think one of the main reasons why I wasn't successful is I didn't know what I was looking for those 2 years. I would go into every single day not knowing I didn't have a system, right? I would go into every single day trading something new. There was nothing similar to the trades that I was taking, right? I had no system, and that was the problem. So I had to get slapped in the face so many times over leveraging, not trading whatever the strategy, whatever it is, a lot of accounts blown for me to realize there is no other way to be successful in this industry than to have an insane level of discipline. So I sat myself down and I asked myself, I've been doing this shit for 2 years. I don't see myself doing anything else. Like I could not see myself doing anything else at that time of my life. And I was like, okay, I am going to make this shit work. And the only way I'm going to make this shit work is if I think about this logically. What is going to make me the best trader? Why do people think trading is gambling? How can I make it not gambling, right? So I start thinking about it that way. How can I consistently make money? Number one, first thing, I have to have some sort of system. If there's no repetitive system, then I have no edge in the market. Number two, that system has to be proven with back testing to consistently make me money. Number three, I have to be focused on not making money. I struggled a lot with my emotions, a lot. Market would open, I would be itching to put a trade on. Constantly looking for opportunity. I couldn't sit still, taking terrible trades that I didn't even plan for. I would just enter, exit, whatever it is, and I would just go on tilt and I would trade, and I had no idea what I was doing, and it was fucking awful. And it got to a point where I continued to do these things until I would just keep blowing up accounts, and I didn't have any more money, and I was working 2 jobs at the time and all these things. So once I realized that these are the things I needed to do, it was just making that switch. That's the hardest part. Now, in my opinion, the cycle of what trading goes is first, initial luck, second, depression, third, slowly thinking that you're going to get back to it, fourth, depression again, fifth, starting to realize what is working, what's not working, sixth, depression for the third time. And then after you've gone through all of that, you then realize that there's only one way of doing it, right? Which is you have to have an insane level of discipline and patience. And trust me, it gets easier. It does. It gets easier. People say it doesn't, but for me, at least for me, it is harder for me to break my rules than it is for me to follow them. If that makes sense. Because it becomes habit, right? That's why I always say to you guys, the most important thing in trading, and I realize this after years of trading, the most important thing of trading and in making money long-term, because I'm hoping that you guys are not here to make quick money. If you are here to make quick money, you will not make quick money. You're going to lose money. You have to be focused on longevity. If you're not focused on longevity, you're going to lose. And the only way that you're going to be in this game for a long time and consistently make money is if you have habits that stick with you for that long to keep you in check, right? Because defense is more important in trading than offense. Protecting yourself from making mistakes. And the things that are going to protect yourself from making mistakes are the habits that you've been building for so much time. Because that just becomes second nature to you, which is you're not over leveraging. You know what you're trading. If you don't get the setup, there's no trade, right? And I don't care if I don't trade. Another thing that made me profitable in like an aha moment is I stopped caring what the market's doing. I don't fucking care what the market does, right? I don't care if we pump. I don't care if we dump because I don't care to FOMO. Guys, the problem with FOMO is you guys get FOMO for trades that you shouldn't have even been looking to take. That is the problem. You are focused on making money, not being a good trader. That is the problem. People have FOMO because they look at the market and they see this big move to the upside and they're like, oh my God, I could have caught that. And then okay, I'm going to be like, okay, guys, where would you have taken an entry? I don't know, maybe here. Okay, wow, that entry would have fucking sucked. Why would you have taken an entry there? Most of the time, you would have lost on that trade to begin with. So I have totally stopped caring what the market does. If we pump, if we dump, I don't give a fuck. If there's no model, if there's no A+ setup for me to even get in it, then why do I care what the market does, right? There's no reason for me to even stress about what the market fucking does, right? There's no reason. So all of these good habits that you end up building over time just becomes the way that you think, the way that you live. And in your question, you said, how has trading changed my life? Not, in my opinion, trading has completely not even changed my life financially, but has completely made me a different person and a better person. I've become mentally aware of myself and my surroundings, more mentally mature. Like I can't stand the people I used to be around. Like I am so above, like all the people that come into this Discord, I'm sure oh my God, voice crack. I'm sure most of you guys think that I'm like mid-20s, late 20s, whatever it is, right? A lot of people think that I'm older than I am just because of the way I communicate and the way I talk. All of that has come just from the last 4 years of trading and all through my journey, because it's dealing with those downtimes, getting through those, times where you think that you can't do it, and then constantly pushing, right? Asking yourself these questions, putting in the work, right? Becoming disciplined, becoming a fucking monster with trading, right? Focusing on all of these things. Trading not only will change your life financially, but it's going to change the way that you think as a person, and you're just going to grow to become a better person. I fully believe trading has completely made me a better person. So I'm hoping that that little talk helped you guys out. You are so right, though, bro. It's a cycle until it's finally not. I'm closer than ever, and I know it will work now. Never been as sure of as before. Yes, sir, James. Love to hear it, brother. Again, James, you're James. You're an inspiration to all of us, brother. Keep working hard, bro. And again, like James said, guys, it is a cycle until it's not. The cycle of, oh, I think I'm there. I think I'm there. I think I'm there. And then you get he hit rock bottom again. And you're like, fuck. Like, oh my God. And then you get back to that same spot where you're like, all right, this could be it. I could be making that big step here. And then you get reset again. And then you're like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing? And you realize, guys, it's the fucking habits that you are building along the way that you do not realize you are building, right? It's thinking about it from an outside perspective or a third-person perspective of saying, hey, psychologically, when I'm thinking about certain things, what are the things that are holding me back? Number one, in my opinion, one thing that holds a lot of people back that they don't realize, again, I think the reason why people fail in trading is because they can't figure out why they're failing. That's the problem. Most people, when they are failing in trading, they cannot figure out the reason why they are failing, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you how you can figure that out, or I'm going to give you guys most of the reasons why. The reasons why people cannot figure that out is because the problem that they are having is something that they're not thinking about. It's happening psychologically. Number one, the biggest one that I think happens to a lot of traders is building false conviction over time. They don't realize it's happening, but it is. Building false conviction by saying you're taking bad trades and getting lucky. You're having bad risk management and you're getting lucky. And you continue to get lucky. And you continue to get lucky. And then you're like, at that point where you're like, oh, I think I'm making that step. And then all those bad habits built up, you then get reset because you've positioned yourself to not protect yourself. And then you get hurt. But people don't realize that they've been building false conviction over time, right? So a lot of it's all again, there's a reason why people say trading is 80%, 90% psychology. Because that is what is really going to hold you back. I started trading end of October last year. First 8 months was just throwing money away, then got introduced to futures. Found Justin and joined the Discord in June. Since doing so, I've completed 4 eval accounts and no longer losing money. I'm not profitable yet, but I feel the scale starting to tip in that direction. That's so fucking awesome, Uno. I'm happy to hear that, brother. Keep killing it, dude. You're there. Trust me. Keep at it, and you'll be there soon. How do you know when you are actually close rather than building bad habits? You know. Trust me. Okay, guys. I'm just gonna say this now. I am so thankful and blessed for you. I am thankful for you that you are in this Discord. Because I am so glad that you are here with me and not somebody else. Because I am confident to say that if you are in any other Discord, you are most likely going to be fucked. And I'm being 100% honest when I say this. Not even on some ego shit. I am thankful for you in the sense that, like, I am just happy you are here, not somewhere else. You are miles away ahead of other people just by being in this community, being in this call right now, being in the lives, like coming to these charting sessions, asking questions to me, letting me imprint my experience onto you. Because it took me a long time to realize these things. And I'm thankful to be the person that I am in the sense where I don't care to bullshit you guys. I'm going to give you guys the 100% truth every single time. I am not here to sell you guys a fucking fairy tale like these other fucking pussy ass bullshit fuckface gurus in most of this community and most of the goddamn trading space. Okay? It makes me fucking sick, to be honest. I'm here to really help you guys. And number one, the first thing I'm going to say is if you are here, you're already ahead. Okay, that's number one. But if your question, how do I know if you're building good habits or not? Come and ask me. That's the first thing, right? If you don't know, come and ask me. Show me your journal in the charting session. Say, hey, Justin, right? And honestly, I'll actually have a question for you guys as well. Well, let me first finish this. Ask yourself this question, right? Number one, I have always preached, right? Always. The biggest preach that I will always have in this Discord, and I will always nail it into your fucking brains, is your main focus should be building good habits, right? I'll always say that, right? Now, what are those good habits? You know what those good habits are, right? Proper position sizing. Now, that's going to be different for everybody. You have to figure that out yourself. Trading your own edge, right? Not trading dumb strategies, right? Being patient, being disciplined. You know if a trade that you took, you know if you should have taken something or not, most of the time. If you don't, that's when you come to me, right? If you don't know and you really can't figure it out, that is what our charting sessions are for. That is why the value is here. That is why I'm here. If you don't know, come to me. But most of the time, I guarantee you, you know. And do not push it to the side. Push your ego to the side, admit when you are wrong, and figure it out. One of the things that held me back is I was too egoed. If I made a mistake, I would swipe it under the rug and I wouldn't confront it, and I would make those mistakes over and over and over again because I was too eager to admit that I was making mistakes. Admit when you're wrong, figure it out, and if you don't know what the problem is, come to me. So my next question is, would you guys be interested in possibly doing, now this would be like very limited, but for specific people doing one-on-one mentorships or like one-on-one calls during a week to go over journals, anything that specific problems that you guys have. Specific problems that you guys have. Going over your journal, going over the trades you've taken. Similar to the masterclass, it would be a very small group of people, maybe like 10 people. If that, like I'd have to figure out what it would be. But just one-on-one calls where we get to talk, you get to ask me anything, we can go over your journal and really find and figure out the problems of what you guys go through and fix those things. So that could be something to look out for in the future. Studying your thought process is a gift in itself. Much love, brother. Been trading for 3 years, got funded 3 times, but never felt this good before learning from you. Much love, brother. Been doing this for a long time, been in many chords and groups and shit. These charting sessions are the most valuable to a trader compared to anything else out there. Damn near one-on-one mentor with a pro. Much love, Landa. Yeah, one thing I want to say too. There was somebody in the chat or in testimonials that made a statement saying, I would like Discord to live trade longer and not do PM charting sessions. It's better to study the market live than after it happens. Even though no trades are taken, but like ICT guy says, there's nothing better than watching live price action than after it happens. For example, on Friday, NASDAQ, blah, blah, blah. It took a big opportunity came for going short and we missed it. I joined the Discord because of the futures community and I liked YouTube. I believe it was on Tuesday. I love great analysis before it happens, not after it happens. I will probably unsubscribe. Those are the people we do not want in this community, okay? There's the difference between people that want handouts and want to constantly trade, constantly look at the market, constantly be looking for opportunity, constantly be trying to make money. If you are focused, again, guys, this goes with anything in life. This goes with literally anything. If you are looking for love and you are looking for a significant other and you're constantly looking for somebody, it's not going to happen, right? It's going to happen at an unexpected time if you're living your life. Same thing with trading. If you're focused on good habits and you're focused on doing the right things, success will come your way. If you're focused on making money, it won't happen. Most people are not fit people for trading. That's why most people that come to me IRL and tell me and ask if they should trade, I normally say no. Exactly. Don't chase money, chase consistency. Absolutely. How many handles should we be aiming for per trade at least? It's always different. Again, it always depends on the model. It'll always be different. It's not based on handles. It's based off of whatever the draw is. Made the mistake of telling my parents about this, and they said that 1 out of 100 people make it, so you should just quit. Exactly. That's why you don't tell. That's why you don't tell your family or friends. It's only going to be negative. Most people have to learn that the hard way. Again, until you start making money, and then you can shove it in their face. But until then, don't tell anybody. Yeah, or you're lucky to have very encouraging parents. Max contract right now, no, most of the time, my main size is 6 contracts of NQ. Like, I traded 6 contracts today on that first NQ trade I took. I traded, I think I traded 6 on that CL trade as well, but it was a little bit different sizing. But too much on 1 minute? No. I mean, it depends. Again, my risk and your risk is completely different. Yeah, I'll trade 6 cons on the eval for specific setups. Again, my risk, I like going more heavy on the eval. Like, if I'm trading on an eval for like 150K and my drawdown is like what is it, 4,500? My max loss will probably be like 800 to a K. But again, that's just how I go about trading evals. Again, everybody's different for evals. I'm more consistent with passing evals than with trading heavier size than I am with trading lower size. Have you ever passed an eval? Yes, multiple. Have I failed a lot? Absolutely. In the past. I mean, I still fail sometimes. Pizza place you keep on posting? Dude, Wilder. So good. Downtown Boise. So gas. If you were to fail an eval right now, what would you do? Nothing? Like, what do you mean? If I failed an eval, it depends why I failed it. At my specific point in my trading journey, I don't care. If I fail, it depends on how I'm trading it. Again, okay, the reason why I'm so hard on you, okay, actually, let's talk about that. It's a great question. There is times where if I'm trading like an eval, I'll go heavier size to get it funded. So I don't have to either pay the recurring, whatever it is, right? Now, the reason I say for you guys that most of the time trade lower size is, number one, you have less experience than me. Number two, I want you to be more focused on building good habits, right? And a lot of the times, if you end up trading that size on an eval with a low experience, that size or that habit will bring over into that live account, right? Which I don't want you to do. But again, it all has to do with whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you have to know yourself. Again, it's all knowing yourself. If you think that you can trade like that in an eval and not bring it over, then go for it. But if it doesn't, you're going to have to learn the hard way, which is fine too. I mean, a lot of people do have to learn that way. How much you gonna risk per trade on 150K? I'm thinking 300, but is that too much? That's too little, to be honest. If my drawdown's like 4K, 5K on that, you can up that. I mean, that's personally me. Trade it how you want to trade it, but I trade heavy size on evals. Like, for example, if I lose 5 trades in a row, I'll lose the eval, pretty much. Like, that's kind of like the threshold that I trade in my evals. Exactly, but I have the discipline to only trade quality setups that I know will work for me most of the time, right? So it's just all about how you go about it. If you don't have the discipline and you trade, and you know that you trade, small, like, slower quality setups here and there, right? And you know that, then don't trade that heavy size because you're going to get hit a lot of the times, right? Cooking that Wagyu? No, I'm saving it. I'll probably cook it later this week. It's frozen, though, so I can do it whenever. External model, bigger moves and targeting external drawn liquidity as an internal small. Again, internal, external, all just depends on whatever time frame I'm looking at. How much when it's passed? Good question. What is the drawdown when it's passed? Isn't there what's the trailing liquidation level for top steps? I think it's the same. Does it trail up when you make money or no? It stops when you get the stop to 0? Oh, 1,500? Okay, so it initially... Okay, gotcha. So I'll start off trading lower size, and then once I have a cushion, probably like 5K cushion, like when I'm up probably 5K on it, is when I'll start upping my size. Or 10K is when I'll start upping my size. Are they good? I've never had it. This is my first time having it. I mean, it was like very expensive, so... What are your thoughts on taking the weekends off? Because I usually don't do anything related to trading on the weekends. I don't either. Yeah. I mean, we don't trade on... Markets close on the weekend, so... I don't do anything trading related on the weekend until we get to Sunday. But that's for me. Again, earlier people, on the weekends, I was putting in work. I was back testing. I was watching videos. I was fucking doing something trading. But again, I always think that it's good to spend time outside of the markets as well. Much love, Uno. Have a good one, brother. Me and the replay button are best friends during weekends. Love to hear it. All right, guys. I think gonna call it a session here. We've been going for over an hour now, but I just want to say I'm very proud of each and every one of you. Even just coming to these sessions, I know you're putting in the work. I know that you guys are already ahead just being in this group. I love this community. I love all these people. I'm so happy to see everybody improve over time. It's just insane to see the growth of everybody. So let's keep working at it. We had a great day today. Let's have another great day tomorrow. Let's have a good week. And I will see you all tomorrow morning. Get some rest. I'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Peace.